Hare Krishna, everyone. It's 7 o'clock. So we will. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for giving your association in reading Srila Prabhupada's books together. Okay, so would you like to share anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I would like to share, if you allow me.
Okay, go ahead.
Recently I was reading this book, The Journey Within. So I just noted some important points that I want to share with everyone. So from his chapter 1, where Maharaj was explaining, Radhanath Maharaj, that was written by him, what is the true wealth? So he started with a proverb that if you want to know how rich you are, try to find how many things you have that money cannot buy. That was something striking. And then later he went on explaining that to be truly wealthy, what it means is to have a fulfilled heart, and that means to love and to be loved. And the joy of love is the true wealth that we all inherit. But learning to recognize it is what our spiritual practice is all about. So, but today, in the stressful times that we live in, we tend to forget about our own spiritual potential, and then later fail to recognize it in others also. So, and then Maharaj was sharing an encounter that he had with one lady that helped him to humble and led to recognize that what we are so prone to forget. So Maharaj was describing his encounter with a lady named Dorothy. So Maharaj and Dorothy and others were waiting on the airport, and because of a delay in the flight. So during that time, a conversation was struck. So this lady Dorothy, everybody was waiting for the flight because it was delayed, but she was getting so restless and she was so angry that she started having a very not a good conversation with the airport authorities. Like, she was very angry on them, and she finally then the authority, when they said that we will have to call security during that time, like, she calmed down and she scanned the lounge and she saw Maharaj. So she just went there and she started asking Maharaj if you were a monk. So then after that, Maharaj introduced himself to her, and then because she was angry and she was restless, Maharaj asked, like, if you want to share anything that is in your heart. Then she just introduced herself, and that's how. And then suddenly she started asking that why God is doing this to her. So because she shared with Maharaj that she had lost her husband at the age of 30. She lost all her children, and to the worst come, like, she is now diagnosed with a terminal cancer, and now she has just 1 month to live. But just in order to live and save her life a little more, like, she wanted to live a little more and wanted to save herself. So she found a clinic in Mexico. So that's why, like, she was taking this flight from Washington, and unfortunately that flight also got delayed, and that's where, like, she was telling that she lost her last chance also to leave. Now she tried to be a good wife, good mother. She went to church, she did lot of charity, she never hurt anybody purposefully. But now no one cares for her whether she suffers or dies. So she was asking this strong question: why is God doing this to me? So in reply to that, like, Maharaj, in order to console her, like, he started preaching her. So that Maharaj said that there cannot be anything now you can do about what already had happened. But as difficult as it is, you still have the freedom to choose how to respond to it. So how you respond now will determine your future in this life and beyond. So these were very striking points. I thought that we all have adversities in life that we encounter, but how we choose to respond to those adversities determines like our future in this life and beyond. And further, Maharaj said that you have every right to lament about how cruelly this world has treated you, but you can also search for ways to turn your life circumstances into positive opportunities for growth. And even in the Bible, it is mentioned that seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door will be open to you. We can all choose to live and die depressed or with gratitude. So that depends on us. And since she shared with Maharaj that she was about to die because she has terminal cancer, so Maharaj said that in order to understand death, we first need to understand life. And Maharaj asked, just ask yourself, who am I? So like she replied that I already told that I'm Dorothy. So then in order to explain the philosophical concept of our true identity, Maharaj was asking some simple questions that, are you your eyes or are you seeing through your eyes? Are you your ears or are you hearing through your ears? So are you your nose or are you smelling through your nose? Don't you touch through your skin? Think through your brain, feel through your heart. So given this, what do you feel is the ultimate difference between a living body and a dead body? So in response to this, like she mentioned that when I really think, it seems like I live in my body, but my body is not me. So yes, then Maharaj explained further by analogy of a car, that body is like a car and the self is like the driver. We should take care of the vehicle of the body as much as we are able to, but driver's need should not be neglected. The car needs oil and gas, but the driver needs something else. So we are all eager to nourish our needs and wants of the body, but we miss out on greatest opportunity of life. And but we all forget the needs of the soul actually, and which means we miss out on the greatest opportunity of life and the real pleasure that we are seeking. Then Maharaj also shared some of the words that Mother Teresa had spoken when he met her. So the greatest problem in this world is hunger, not hunger of the stomach, but of the heart. All over the world, both rich and poor are suffering. They are lonely, starving for love. So only God's love can satisfy the hunger of the heart. So in response to this, like Dorothy was asking that you are a Hindu, I'm a Christian. So which God are you talking about? So in order to explain the concept of God, Maharaj said that the source of all that exists, the all-loving, the all-beautiful Father, Mother, dearest friend of all beings, God who has many names in many languages. There is only one God. So in order to explain this concept of one God, he again presented the analogy of a sun. So like in America, we call that sun. In Mexico, it is called as Sol. In India, it is named as Surya. So but when the sun rises in America, it does not become an American sun, or when it rises in Mexico, it doesn't become a Mexican sun or Indian sun. So it is, if we don't understand that the sun is universal, we can wind up in endless arguments about sun's name and where it is from. So similar it is with God. It has different names, but there is only one God. And then true religion is something that helps us to experience God's love and be an instrument of that love in every aspect of our lives. That is what true religion is. And Maharaj also said powerful words like humanity will benefit when we learn to appreciate each other for the values we share and respect our brotherhood and sisterhood, despite our personal, social, or apparently philosophical differences. And then because Maharaj in her preaching had mentioned about karma, she was very curious to know what it means. And she was saying that maybe someone also told me that her suffering was because she had bad karma. So she wanted to understand what is karma. So in response to that, Maharaj has explained that karma refers to the actions that we perform and the corresponding reactions that they attract. Karma is a natural law, but just like the law of gravity, as gravity pulls the objects towards the earth, whether or not we believe in gravity. So the same way the law of karma acts. It's only natural that what goes up must come down. And also the Bible teaches the same saying that as you sow, so shall you reap. And even in science, Newton's third law of motion says that for every reaction, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So if I cause others pain, I should expect to feel corresponding pain at the same point. And if I treat others with compassion, I should expect the same in return, if not immediately, but in due course of time. So the point of knowing this karma law is to appreciate that human beings have been entrusted with a priceless gift, one we can use to create profound benefit for ourselves and others, or create horrible disasters. And that gift is nothing but the gift of free will. We all are blessed with free will, but that comes with the responsibility of choice. So while being in other form of life, according to this particular species, human can choose to be saints or criminals or anything in between. But the price of having that choice is that we are responsible for our actions. We have to face the reactions to both our good and bad deeds. So then she was saying that then why we should believe in karma when we see that good people are suffering and bad people are prospering. So in order to explain this, like Maharaj gave an example of a farmer, like through the story of a farmer. So there were years ago when a farmer was half filling his silo with excellent grains, and even naturally though he began to add grain of a lower quality, because grain is poured into a silo. So how the silo works is that you pour the grain from the top and it will be removed from the bottom. So when the good grain came out first, the farmers was like having a lot of customers and money. But eventually, because he kept on pouring the bad grains, the good grains was already exhausted. And when he began to sell those bad grains, over the time, people stopped buying from him and he lost his prosperity. While at the same time, there was another farmer who had filled the silo with the bad grain, with the poor grain at the first place. And then when he knew about it, he started like pouring more and more excellent grains on the top. So inevitably, like in the beginning, like he had less customers, but as soon as like the good grain started coming and he started selling there, he was more prosperous. So we create our own destiny by the choices we make. So, but while we are free to make choices, once we have acted on those choices, then we are bound to live with their consequences, and that's what is karma. So then she was saying that if this free will that God has presented to us, if it is giving so much suffering, then why God gave us that free will when it is causing so much suffering? So in answer to that, Maharaj was explaining that free will facilitates the most perfect love. If we were programmed just like a computer to love or forced to love by the superior power, our love would have been very incomplete and not truly satisfying to either lover or the beloved. So along with the freedom to love our supreme beloved, we have the choice to turn away from that and seek happiness elsewhere. But at any moment, every immortal soul can still choose to return to that love. And after that, after explaining all this, Maharaj was also shared some thoughts from Bhagavad Gita. So where he was describing that Gita tells us that our thoughts, words, and actions, when performed in a spirit of devotion and service to the Supreme Being and with compassion for other souls, are beyond the laws of karma. So in fact, he said that even a little devotional service can free us from lifetimes of karma. And devotional service sows and nourishes the seed of love of God in the heart. And such love in its pure state is unconditional, free from any selfish motive, and filled with happiness. And as the Bible also says that the kingdom of God is within. And then she was asking, does meditation help? And can you teach some kind of meditation to me? In response to that, Maharaj says that there are many types of meditation, but he had chosen to practice mantra meditation. And the word mantra in the Sanskrit language refers to a sound vibration that can free the mind from anxiety. and she was curious to know like how does that work. And Maharaj tried to explain by analogy of a mirror. So he said that think of a mirror, and a mirror is meant to perfectly reflect your image when you look into it. But if it is covered with dust, the image will be very clouded, distorted, or you might not be even be able to see yourself at times. So the mind is also like our mirror. Over the years, we have allowed it to become covered with the dust of misconceptions, desires, fears, and all these are born of a a false sense of knowing that who we are, or false ego. So when we look into that inner mirror, we mainly see the dust. But worse, we think the dust distorted image is a true reflection of ourselves. So here is where the meditation on the mantra will help to clean the mental mirror, so we can see some things truer about ourselves, the pure soul we really are. We are the special part of the eternal supreme Lord, the soul, full of knowledge and bliss. So as the mind clears, the fog of misconception also fades, and the natural qualities of the souls will emerge, and we begin to feel the love that is inherent in us. And we recognize that all beings are our sisters and brothers, because like us, they are also related to our beloved. And then this Maha Mantra, which is has the power. He said that this Mahamantra has the power to significantly change one's life for the better, to take us from distress to the peace of mind, and from peace of mind to spiritual freedom. So she asked Dorothy to focus her mind and repeats the words of mantra: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So then he later went on explaining the meaning of this Maha Mantra. So in this Maha Mantra is consisted with the names of the God. Here in the Maha Mantra, the Krishna means that all attractive one, Rama means the reservoir of all pleasure, and Hare is the name of the feminist, compassionate aspect of the God. And at the end, at the end of the conversation, their flight finally took off, and when the flight landed finally after completing the journey, Dorothy was thinking that today is the day that she found her real wealth, and she was very grateful for this. Yeah, thank you. Prabhuji, if you want to add something.
Thank you for sharing. It's nice. How much she must have been frustrated. She lost her husband, and then she got a disease, and only 1 month to live, and then the flight to Mexico where she was going to. So material life can frustrate us so much. Okay, I was thinking about that. But in that frustration, by grace of God, she found the association with a sadhu. And probably that brief encounter on the airport might have changed her life. So she said also, right, she found the real wealth. So sadhu sanga, sarva shastra koy, lava matra sadhu sange, sarva siddhi hoy. Okay, so that's what I have to say. Anything else you'd like to say?
I want to recite one verse from Kunti's prayer.
Yeah.
Okay. It's 1:8:19. Maya Javanika Channam Agya Adhokshazam Avyam Na Lakshya se Mudha Drisha Nato Natya Dharo Yatha. So this verse is saying that Kunti Mani is saying that you are adhoksha, you are beyond the range of sense, our limited perception, and you are covered. You are there is a word actually. Oh, you are eternally irreproachable, right? You are covered by the curtain of Maya, like deluding energy, and you are invisible to the ignorant and foolish people, exactly like an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. So yeah, so she's saying that you are calling the Krishna is curtain of Maya. You are Maya Jagnavika. You are covered by the deluding energy. So we have seen that in the in like Shishupal and Duryodhan and Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra cannot see physically, but yeah, they all say Krishna, but they couldn't recognize the position of Krishna. So it's Krishna is everywhere, but he's all pervading. But he's covered. He's covering himself. So it does. Sometimes it means like does that mean that Maya is more stronger than Krishna because Maya covered Krishna? So it's not like that, and he is not covered for everyone. He covered himself only for the in the purport. One second, I'll open this one. Yeah. So in the purport, he's saying that is covered by the ignorant and foolish people. There's a verse like avajananti ma mudha manushim tanum ashritam param bhavam agyanto mam bhuta maheshwaram. So he is like the foolish people cannot deride him when they descend in the human form. They don't know the Krishna's transcendental nature as the supreme Lord. So yeah, and yeah, so Maya is not. Does that mean Maya is so strong who covers Krishna? So Kunti Malani is saying that no, foolish people thinks that you are covered by Maya, but you are exactly like if cloud covers the sun, doesn't mean that a cloud covering the sun is like our vision is covered. Sun is already present in the sky. So you are always there. You are transcendental, but because our vision is covered by Maya, so Maya covers the foolish people, but you are beyond. You are adhokshaja. And very nice thing is in the purport is Krishna, Kunti Maharani himself, herself calling as like Agya. She is like, although she is talking about everything is glorifying Krishna as per Shastra, she is praying and talking all these according to the Shastra, but she's herself calling as a less intelligent because because why Krishna is not why she's calling Agya, because nobody can recognize Krishna, because Krishna is, the last line is nato natya dharo yatha. So Krishna is like a expert actor. Nobody and nobody can recognize. He's an amazing actor. No one can recognize. Even in Vrindavan, Krishna has done so much pastimes, and even the Brajvasis also, they are so much engrossed, and they forget their position, and Krishna is so much engrossed and doing his acting, and he forget his own position. So and the conditioned souls there, in the purport Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that we have imperfect senses, and with that imperfect senses we try to realize God, we try to understand God. So there's a today's we believe on Pratyaksha Praman and Anuman, but they don't accept the Shabda Praman, that is a Shastra, because through the Shastra we can understand the Lord. Through that knowledge we can understand what Lord is, his transcendental activities, his pastimes. Not the ignorant and foolish people can understand. So Krishna covered himself for them. And yeah, for bhakta, he is through the devotional service one can understand the Lord and Lord's transcendental nature. Thank you, Prabhuji.
What else? Anything else? Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu, I can go over one song. Okay, I'll just go with the translation. My crooked mind delights in sense gratification, but not in the association of the saintly devotees. Why do I follow this dangerous path? O Lord Hari, how have I become so attached to materialism? In the past, I continually heard the philosophy of Krishna consciousness from Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami, Srila Sanatan Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, Srila Gopal Bhatt Goswami, and Srila Lokanath Goswami, who is like a great ocean of devotional truth. By hearing their words, the pain within my mind subsided, and I attained an auspicious condition of life. Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Lord Advaita, and the devotees who are their personal associates have descended from the spiritual world to the land of Nadia. They have not taken birth as ordinary mortals do. How wonderful are their transcendental activities! I am not like them. I simply trudge along, carrying a great heap of illusory materialistic burdens. Haridas Thakur and the other devotees travelled about, absorbed in a constant festival of the glorification of Lord Krishna, but I myself was unable to see these blissful pastimes. How sad is my tale! I have wasted my life. Fie, fie on Narottam Das. So again, this song is on, he's anchoring for devotee association, and he's seeing the benefits of, but still being in the devotee association, I'm so unfortunate that, my mind still dwells in sense gratification. It's a very dangerous path because as trividham narakeshadam dwaram nashnam atmana, as we are reading in Bhagavatam section, what is the fate of someone who engages himself in sinful activities, breaking four regulated principle? He's going to end up in hell, in a lot of suffering, misery. So, but the words of the pure devotees, it relieves us of all the suffering, as Juhi was mentioning about Radhanath Maharaj encounter with this lady. Her suffering was in her mind, as we see, the mind is a cause of all suffering, not knowing our true nature, true constitutional position that we are spirit souls. So like, Prithu Maharaj also says, Sauttam Shloka Mahan Mukhachito Bhavat Padambuja Sudhakananila Smritim Punar Vismrita Tattva Vartmanam Ku Yoginam No Vitarate Alambare, where he's saying that, oh Lord, the vibration from the mouths of the great devotees, they carry the aroma of the saffron dust of your lotus feet. And when somebody hears those vibrations from the mouth of the devotees, the living entities who are forgetful of their eternal relationship with Krishna, they are reminded of. So smritim punar vismrita, whatever has been forgotten is being reminded again, and they understand their position, and they understand that anyways they are temporarily in this material world away from Krishna. They want to go back to Krishna. So that's the power. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam. Right, katha coming from the mouths of the devotees relieves the jivas from all the suffering. So, and then all these souls that have come into our lives, the gurus, they are from the spiritual world, sent by Krishna to awaken us from this dream of illusory material things that we are in. And Brahman Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. We have been traveling from up and down for many, many lifetimes. When Krishna is pleased, he will send Guru in our life. Like Radhanath Maharaj was that Guru. Any person who tells us about Krishna is Guru. So we should be very grateful to them, and never offend them, any of the devotees, because they're helping us. And Haridas Thakur and so many other devotees who are so pure, they are they are so much ananda, they're joyful, glorifying the Lord, and they're feeling so so much happiness. But it's, us, our consciousness of trying to enjoy again in the material world, that is separating us from that joy of, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nashochiti Nakangshiti Samasarveshu Bhuteshu. So our lamentation, our hankering for so many things in this material world is separating us from this, being also absorbed in constant festival, like those pure devotees. So Narottam Das, out of humility, is saying that I'm not at that platform. So yeah, we should see, how some devotees are feeling so much joy in bhakti. They have so much, what do you call that, understanding, and in Krishna consciousness, they're able to, they are feeling so much bliss in service. When will I be at that platform? So we should also hanker. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Anything else anybody like to say? Okay, if nobody has anything, we'll read Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is describing the child in the womb. Read a few verses. Previously it's described how the soul takes shelter in the semen of the male, and then how that semen is injected into the female, and the body develops in the mother's womb. This is like human birth. So, because there are 4 ways living beings come. One is by perspiration, one is through eggs, one is through birth, like mammals, they give birth, and the other is by the trees, how the trees, they come from the earth. So there are 4 ways. So this is describing the birth of mammals, the one, especially maybe human beings, how they give birth and what happens inside. So, of course, medical science also can tell us, how the body is being formed, but this is 5,000 years back. Bhagavatam is describing what is going on inside. Right, like right now, they can detect the gender of the child even before the child is born. They can say, oh, this child is male or female, and they can see so many things. If there is some abnormalities in the child, they can tell you up front also. So science is advanced, but this was 5,000 years back. They didn't have all this probably. But Bhagavatam is, of course, this knowledge is eternal. Bhagavatam was compiled by Vyasadeva 5,000 years back. So this is describing not only the formation of the body, but what is going on through the mind of the child. What is its thinking? That modern science cannot say. What is the consciousness? What is the inner feeling of the child? That is also described here in the Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam is very advanced. It tells everything about what human beings found later. In the course of a month, a head is formed. So first night, it says they mix, and then the 5th night, it forms a bubble. 10th night, it develops like a plum, and then into a lump of flesh or an egg. Then what happens? In the course of a month, a head is formed. So head is formed first. And at the end of the 2 months, the hands, feet, and other limbs take shape. By the end of 3 months, the nails, fingers, toes, body, hair, bones, and skin appear, as do the organs of generation and other apertures in the body. So head, then hands, feet, legs, and then the nails, toes, then other holes in the body, namely the eyes, nostrils, ears, mouth, and anus. So maybe like 3 months they can tell the gender of the child, because they can find out, okay, this male child or female child based on the formation of all this. Okay. Any comments anybody has, then they can share. Within 4 months from the date of conception, the 7 essential ingredients of the body, namely this child, blood, blood, flesh, fat, bone, marrow, and semen, come into existence. At the end of 5 months, hunger and thirst make themselves felt. At the end of 6 months, the fetus, enclosed by amnion, begins to move on the right side of the abdomen. So all this is there because the soul has entered. Now the body has to develop around the soul. So the soul is now encaged in matter. The soul was there, but the soul has to be encaged. We are all encaged. This liberation means to free the soul. This body is like a cage for the soul, and we are in this body encaged like a bird. Some parrots are encaged for whole life. So we are encaged for whole life, 70, 80 years. It's a very poor condition actually. If you see the bird, instead of flying in the sky freely, the bird is put in a cage and has to spend his or her own life, whole life in the cage. But similarly, we are also encaged for 70, 80 years. Prabhupada writes in one purport that the soul wants to see the free light, but it has limitations because of just like the bird in the cage wants to fly, but cannot go out because it's locked. So, but of course, that is not a perfect analogy because the cage, it cannot break open the cage, but we, the soul, can break open this bodily cage that we are put in by the process of devotional service. So we can get out. Of course, the bird stays longer in the cage, it becomes accustomed to living in the cage. That whenever sometimes even the master opens, it flies some distance and then goes back into the cage. So similarly, we are also very accustomed to living in different bodies. So we think that yes, having a material body is natural for me. This is natural. No, but it's not natural for the soul to have a material body. Soul doesn't need a body to survive. Soul exists independently of the body. Although we think if my body, in material consciousness, we think if my body is finished, I'm finished. Prabhupada was speaking to a Russian professor who was teaching Hinduism. And he said, Swamiji, after this life, everything is finished. And Prabhupada says, see, he's teaching Hinduism. He doesn't even know the basics that after this life we don't. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. The first instruction of Bhagavad Gita, that we are eternal beings. We are just trapped in this body for a few years according to our karma. But we'll move on, we'll go to another body. Dehantara prapti, tatha dehantara prapti. So like that we have gotten one body, we are moving from one body to another. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam, iha sansare bahudusthare kripaya pare pahi murare. So it's a punishment. This body is a punishment for the soul. Because he has to go through so much pain and all these things because of this body. Like she was suffering from cancer, right? This Dorothy. 1 month left. Now she has to go to Mexico and do all the treatment there. Don't know what happened, whether she survived or not. But it creates so much anxiety in this body. And we are trying to enjoy in this body, in this anxiety-filled situation. Just like the man in the well who is hanging is licking some drops of honey. In a situation which is filled with so much uncertainty and so much anxiety and insecurity, we are trying to enjoy, trying to build a comfortable situation. That's the power of the illusory energy. Yeah. Okay, anybody like to say anything? So, Prabhupada would say, first make your situation secure, then enjoy. Where is the enjoyment? When your situation is not secure, Kamala dala jala jivana talamala. Anytime anything can happen and you're trying to enjoy. And this is like you're trying to taste that little drops of sense gratification. Kaman alam madulavai, shamayan durapai. Prahlad Maharaj says. Although then nirvidyate tujano yadapiti vidvan, kaman alam. Although he knows, vidvan, he knows, but he can't resist this drops of honey because sometimes we know, right? We should not eat so much, we should not do this, we should not. But our uncontrolled senses, the force, athakena prayuktayam papam charati purusha, anichanapi varshnya baladiva niyojita. What is that impels a man in knowledge to do sinful acts, even against his own will, as if by force? And Krishna says, Kama esha, Kruda esha, Rajoguna samudbhava, Mahashano mahapapa, Vidyenam hivaidinam. Oh, it is the force of this material desires, the desire to enjoy lust. Enjoy Atmendra Priti Vancha Tarabali Kam, Krishnendra Priti Chadore Premnam. That desire to gratify the senses is so strong that even knowing we cannot apply. So we have to really take shelter of Krishna. His Maya is very strong. Devi Esha Gudamai Mammaya Durataya Mami Vaya Prapadyante. Krishna, please protect me. I'm running to you, Krishna. I'm sure running behind the pure devotee. Shouting Krishna, Krishna. Oh, really desperate to get out of this situation. Then we have to really take shelter of Krishna, his lotus feet. Krishna, please protect me. I have nobody. My mind is completely crazy. So, in this way, otherwise all these things awaits us, right? We go into another womb. So, when the body of the child is completely formed at the end of 6 months, the child, if he's male, begins to move on the right side, and if he is female, he tries to move on the left side. So it's also described how the child, which direction the child will move based on the gender of the child. Because according to our body, we have certain feelings and emotions and desires. So depending on the type of body we get. Or we get a body based on our desires, rather. We get a body based on our desires and then it is suitable to our desires. Shrotram chakshum sparshanam cha rasanam granam eva cha adhishtaya manaschayam vishayan upasevate. Deriving its nutrition from the food and drink taken by the mother, the fetus grows and remains in that abominable residence of stools and urine, which is the breeding place for all kinds of worms. So I think there's some attachment, something that develops between there which it divides. What is it called? Umbilical cord?
Umbilical cord. Yeah.
Umbilical cord. Okay. So through that it derives the nutrition. And there is placenta also, right? Placenta. I remember from my biology class. But I don't know what is the difference between placenta and umbilical cord. Umbilical cord, you are saying, is the one that nourishes the child. Okay.
Placenta is a covering, Prabhu.
Covering. Okay. So like that, we are wrapped up in this. It says, in the stool and urine we have to stay, which is the breeding place for all kinds of worms. With the modern science, of course, there are some living entities there everywhere in the body, right? So maybe they are not so active, but they are there. We are the predominant soul, but there are so many souls living in my body. So many bacteria are there in this, and they don't cause us trouble. Sometimes they cause. We say we have bacterial infection, means the bacteria has become too much. Those bacteria that we don't want. There's good bacteria and there's bad bacteria. Good bacteria helps us in digestion. All these things. They are also like earthworms, they make the soil fertile, right? So Krishna's arrangement to help us, But there are bad bacteria also, and then we get bacterial infection, and then we have to take antibiotics to kill all those bacteria, so that those souls die, so that we, the predominant soul in this body, they survive. Vasudev, the leper, was in different consciousness. He was thinking, oh, this body is mine as much as theirs. They are also, that's their food also. So let me put the worms back in the body. Like that. But when we have a bacterial infection, we don't think like that. Oh, they also have to live. They are living in my body. We take antibiotics, which is like a nuclear bomb for them. And then all the bacteria is killed. So for that bacteria, that antibiotic is like a nuclear bomb. And they have to die. They are also living entities. So, like Prabhupada said, when he was living in Vrindavan, Radha Damodar temple, and he had gone out and somebody came and swept all the cobwebs and the spiders, and Prabhupada was upset. He was saying, no, they lived here before. It was their residence. We came and we built all these things, but they are also Vrajvasis. Why should we disturb them? I think it was Jagannath Das Babaji, yeah, who was eating, the puppies were eating from the plate.
Mhm.
Yeah, and what happened? Somebody tried to shoo away the puppies. He said, no, they are also Dhamvasis. They should also eat this prasadam, like that, something he was saying. So, incredible consciousness. We are seeing every living entity as part and parcel of Krishna, as we were hearing. Oh, every living entity is my brother and sister. Why? Because we have common father. Aham bija pradapita. Tasam brahma mahad yoni. Aham bija pradapita. Krishna is the father of all living entities. So we are all siblings in that sense. That's what Juhi was reading. So like that. Okay. So the fetus grows and remains in that abominable residence of stools and urine, which is the breeding place of all kinds of worms. So it is not a very pleasant thing to take birth in this material world. In the Markand, it is trouble for the mother, it is trouble for the child, and then then so many ailments for the child after born, right? So many times you have to go to the doctor. And see that it's very troublesome. But it can be done in a Krishna conscious way. Children can be raised, but it's labor pain, not labor pleasure. So it's a pain. In the Markandeya, to come into the womb is a pain. In the Markandeya Puran, it is said in the intestine of mother, the umbilical cord, which is known as Apyayani, joins the mother to the abdomen of the child. And through this passage, the child within the womb accepts the mother's assimilated food supply. And who made this arrangement? That the child is being fed in the womb. It is automatically happening. The umbilical cord is appearing, right? Which connects. So that the nutrition, this is Krishna's intelligence at work. Otherwise, the child would not survive, right? He can't eat anything. But somehow that something connection is there. In this way, the child is fed by the mother's intestine within the womb and grows from day to day. The statement of Markandeya Puran about the child's situation within the womb is exactly corroborated by modern medical science. So Markandeya Puran is saying which they have found out. And thus the authority of Puranas cannot be disproved, as it is sometimes attempted by Mayavadi philosophers. Since the child depends completely on the assimilated foodstuff of the mother, during pregnancy there are restrictions on the food taken by the mother. Too much salt, chili, onion, and similar food is forbidden from the pregnant mother because the child's body is too delicate and new for him to tolerate such pungent food. So whatever the mother eats affects the child, and because the child cannot handle onion and chili, because he just got a new body, that soul got just a new body. It's very difficult for him to tolerate such onion. It's like sometimes you get tears in the eyes just looking at the onion like that. So restrictions and precautions to be taken by the pregnant mother, as enunciated in the Smriti scriptures of Vedic literature, are very useful. And nowadays they don't think like that, but the child inside may be suffering. We may not know all these things, so we can understand, or we may not believe this. We can understand from Vedic literature how much care is taken to beget a nice child in the society. The Garbhadan ceremony before sexual intercourse was compulsory for persons in the higher grades of society, and it is very scientific. Other processes recommended in the Vedic literature during pregnancy are also very important. To take care of the child is the primary duty of parents, because if such care is taken, society will be filled with good population to maintain the peace and prosperity of the society, country, and human race. So if every child becomes a devotee and they are raised nicely in Krishna consciousness, then all good qualities will be there in the child. And then the population will also be very good, and there'll be compassion, there'll be kindness, there'll be, love and care and trust. So many things will come, and the world will become Vaikuntha if such good children are born. So like that. Of course, it's not going to happen, because in Kali Yuga, as we read from Bhagavatam, what's going to come is mentioned. But for the time being, at least till the golden period is there, the 10,000-year golden period, that can happen anyway. Krimi bhi shatta sarvanga. Krimi means the worms. Shata sarvanga. Shata, bitten. Sarvanga, all over the body. Sarva anga. So kumaryat pratikshanam. So kumaryat, because of tenderness, pratikshanam, like we say, pratikshana svadano. Every moment he is relishing. The spiritual master is relishing the mellows of conjugal love, the divine, like that. Madhurya, what is it? Madhurya
प्रतीक्षणास्वादनलोलुपास्य वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणारविन्दम्.
Yeah. So pratikshana. So pratikshana is getting beaten, just as the spiritual master is relishing the pratikshana, aswadana. He is relishing higher taste. The pratikshana, moment after moment, he is being beaten. Murcham apnoti uru kleshas. Becomes unconscious. Murcham apnoti, he obtains uru klesha. Klesha means suffering. Uru means great. Urukrama is one of the name of Vamandev. One whose krama is steps. And krama also means activities. Ones whose activities are big. So uru klesha. Uru klesha means so lot of trouble, big trouble. Suffering is great suffering. Klesha means trouble, suffering. Klesha adhikatarastesham avyakta asakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadviravapyate. That verse Krishna is saying, 12.5, Bhagavad Gita is saying that their trouble is very great, who the impersonal is. Anyway, so uru klesha tatratyai, being there in the abdomen, shudetai, shuditai, shudapayo anubhasham, bhakti pareshan bhava virakti. Shud is related to hunger. Shuddhapayo means cessation of hunger, he feels. Muhu again and again. Muhu shwasha kampatri retha kapanta. He's breathing again and again. Damodar. So anyhow, there are some words that we already know. But bitten again and again all over the body. Muhu. Again, by the hungry worms in the abdomen itself. The child suffers terrible agony because of his skin is tender and the worms are biting. Or he's put in a situation. He thus becomes unconscious moment after moment because of the terrible condition. So after reading this, we should decide, I don't want to enter into another womb again. Of course, decision is there, but it has to be very intense decision. I don't want to go through this misery again and again. When birth means, death will also be there. So when you are determined that I don't want to, I will do whatever it takes to prevent. Of course, Mahaprabhu says, Mama janmani janmani ishware bhavatat bhakti rahitu kitvai. Oh, it doesn't matter, I can take birth after birth. That's okay. If you are a... But we should know that because of our desires, material desires, and all these desires to enjoy independently of Krishna is causing us to transmigrate in this material existence. So Krishna, now I'm tired of transmigrating. I have done so many times, I've gone into this womb and I've suffered like this, beaten again and again by the hungry worms. Now I'm, Krishna, please, I want to just come back to you. So like that, been there, done that, been there, done that. So then you can say now, Krishna, as Bhakti Charumat Parikshit was telling yesterday, how Prabhupada told Bhakti Charu Maharaj, yeah, you have tried this so many lifetimes, all these things that you are going to try now, you have tried in past lives also, but it has not given you any satisfaction and any happiness. So why not try something different in this life? Why not try and surrender to Krishna? You tried sense gratification so many lives, it didn't work out. You're not still satisfied, so why not try something different? Because if you try the same thing, you'll get the same result. Of course, we have forgotten, that's the point. We have forgotten all this. But in this life also, maybe we have had some experience with all this and say, yeah, I'm done with this, it's not. So like that. Ultimately, we have to decide. The jiva has to decide that enough is enough. I don't want to be in this. This is no place for enjoyment. And this is actually a very troublesome place. I'm going through all this. And why Bhagavatam is describing so many verses? Because it is telling us we don't remember the miseries of our birth. So why Bhagavatam is telling us? Because he's reminding, okay, this is what you went through in the womb. And if you don't go back home, back to Godhead, this is what awaits you again in a few years, in another body. So that is why Bhagavatam is describing all this, so that we become serious about Krishna consciousness. It thus becomes unconscious moment after moment because of the terrible condition. The miserable condition of material existence is not only felt when we come out of the womb of the mother. And even though you may have all the technology in this world, still there is no solution to all these miseries. Birth, inside the womb, what can you do? And death, all this technology, yeah, they will say, like this Dorothy was said, oh, you have only 1 month to live. So she's trying alternative treatment, going to Mexico. But a time will come when the doctors will, say, we are helpless. We cannot do anything. So then where can we go? If we think technology is going to solve all the problems, then okay. The miserable condition of material existence is not only felt when we come out of the womb of the mother, but is also present within the womb. It doesn't mean that we don't take the treatment, yes, but it cannot really save us in the ultimate, because everybody has to die. So is not only felt when we come out of the womb of the mother, but is also present within the womb. So after coming out also there is misery, the child is crying, and also inside the womb is also misery. Miserable life begins from the moment the living entity begins to contact its material body. As soon as contact material body, our misery begins. We are thinking, oh, it's a nice birth, now it's so, I have a full life ahead to enjoy. But so unfortunately, we forget this experience and do not take the miseries of birth very seriously. In Bhagavad Gita, therefore, it is specifically mentioned that one should be very alert to understand the specific difficulties of birth and death. Just as during the formation of this body, we have to pass through so many difficulties within the womb of the mother. At the time of death, there are also many difficulties. And we are stubborn, although we know these difficulties, we are stubbornly attached to our own way of thinking and our own desires for gratification. So that's the problem. As described in the previous chapter, one has to transmigrate from one body to another. Or we feel it's not so bad after all. That's another thing Prabhupada said, right? It's not so bad. Why it's so okay, it may not be bad because you have nice, healthy life. Right now, there is no such disease or anything like that. But it's not always going to remain like this. So, as described in previous chapter, so we have to be proactive and prepare for the future. Just like people are proactive and they save for retirement, right? They know when I'll be 60, I will not be working. Then I need some money to survive. So they, from the beginning, they put in 401k or whatever they put their money. They are saving money. So like that, one has to be proactive in the sense that, oh, death is coming and I'm going to go to my next body. What kind of body I'm going to get? So we don't think that far generally. I mean, except you all devotees, but most people don't think about the next life. They just think about this retirement and how I can. That's as far as they can go, because they don't have this knowledge, and there is a loss of faith also. There is a lack of faith that we are not this body. We are the soul, and the soul will continue to go to another body. If you really had the faith in the transmigration of the soul and that how we are eternal and what Shastra is saying is true. Really, the faith is tested by how much, then whole your priorities in life should change. And then you can say you have real faith. Otherwise, and of course, faith is also of different categories. So faith is also, there is strong faith, there is intermediate faith, there is shaky faith, which is like we say neophyte stage, then intermediate. And there are shades of, faith in between those stages also. Like we have anartha nivritti, then so many things. Till we go to prema, there are so many intermediate stages. So faith is also like a spectrum. And those who have strong faith in the words of scripture, and Krishna really exists. But Krishna is really existing, and he can take care of me. These are the two things. If you have faith, Krishna is there, and he will take. If I serve him, he will take care of me. Rakshashi ititi vishvasa gopatritve. Krishna will protect me. Krishna will take care of me. If you have faith in this, then you can surrender to Krishna. Because ultimately, what we want is security, right? Security and happiness. These are the two things we want. Everybody is looking for. So Krishna is saying, yes, I'll give you security, don't worry. From your karma also. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma suchaha. I'll give you security and all the happiness you'll get from serving me. Like that is saying. This process of Krishna consciousness is a very joyful process. So susukham kartum avyayam. So ultimately we look for that. So if you really believe in that yes, Krishna will protect me, Krishna, then you can surrender to Krishna. In the heart, in the deep core of our heart, if you really like. And there are levels of how much we can. So, so we have to increase that faith in Krishna. And by seeing others who have that faith and how blissful their life is, as you were saying. So, like Narottam Das Thakur says, Haridas Thakur, he was experiencing joy of festival every day. So, actually, that is what we want. We want joy always, every moment. We want joy and happiness, uninterrupted joy, anandamayo bhyasat. That's the nature of the soul. But in this world, to get some, there's so many struggles, so many obstacles. We fall sick, then where is the joy? Of course, if you are spiritually advanced, you can even be joyful in a materially very distressed situation, because your joy is not coming from the body. Your joy is coming from bhakti, your service to Krishna. So in the time of distress, that verse is the guiding light. Tate nukampam susamikshamano bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam ridvag vapurbhir vidathan namaste jive to yo mukti pade sadaya bhak. He says, Tate, we should expect Krishna's mercy. Tate nukampam susamikshamano, eagerly waiting for Krishna's mercy. Tate nukampam susamikshamano. Susamikshamano means the eagerness. I think Amrendra Prabhu has given a nice thing on this. One class I forget, but so Tate nukampam, one who is eagerly waiting for Krishna's mercy. Tate nukampam susamikshamano bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam. And all the suffering that is coming is atma kritam. It is my own karma. All the suffering. So we don't blame Krishna or we don't blame others. Everything that is coming is because of my own karma. Bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam. It's my own. So we don't. So in suffering condition, knowing that this is my own doing and Krishna has, I don't blame Krishna, and I'm still waiting for Krishna's mercy. But it is not that we just keep waiting. What do? That's the next line. Tate nukampam susamikshamano bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam ridvag vapurbhri vidathan namaste. Namaste means, we say namaste, namaste. Namaste means to offer respects. It's like greeting, like namaste. But namahate, offering obeisances. We are offering obeisances to Krishna with our, means engaged in his service, in devotional service. Despite the suffering that is there in our life, we are, of course, if it is physical suffering, we can't do physical service because obviously we are not. But in our heart, we are offering respects to Krishna. Ridvag vapu, with our heart, with our words, and with our vapu, our body. So, waiting for Krishna's mercy, knowing that all the suffering is due to my own doing, my own karma. So, I don't blame anybody because this is it's just the instrument of my karma. It's my atma kritam vipakam, and at the same time being engaged in devotional service. Then one who lives like this, jive to yo mukti pade sadaya bhag. Daya bhag means he becomes the inheritor of mukti pade. Pada means position. You go to the position of liberation, means you are liberated basically. One who lives in this way is liberated because it has become his rightful claim. So Prabhupada said like that, this is the guiding light, guiding verse. Because in this world, miseries will come. This is dukkhalayam or sashvatam. You can't expect everything is going to go nice here. We are in the material world. So miseries will come. But if we maintain this kind of consciousness in the miserable situation and rendering devotional service to Krishna, even despite the miserable condition, if we can't do physically, it's nothing we can do. But in our mind, maintaining a favorable attitude and not blaming Krishna and offering respects to Krishna with our body, mind and words, at least we can hear about Krishna. If we can't do physical service, we can hear, we can chant. Depends, of course, what condition we are in. But then we will go back home, back to God. So anyway, so as described in the previous chapter, one has to transmigrate from one body to another. And the transmigration into the bodies of dogs and hogs is especially miserable. But despite such miserable condition, due to the spell of Maya, we forget everything and become enamored with the present so-called happiness. That's the avaranatmika shakti, which is described as actually no more than a counteraction to distress. So we forget everything because we feel it's so nice. Yeah, I got a nice job, I had such a nice salary, and I got a nice house and a new car, and my business is flourishing, and I have nice children with me. They're so nice. They are excelling in their studies. They are becoming the topper. Yes, so nice. So like that, we become under the spell of Maya. We don't realize that. Prabhupada says we forget everything and become enamored with present so-called happiness, which is described as actually no more than a counteraction to distress. Yeah. So all these material things, then we start thinking. Prabhupada, I pasted this before. Let's see. Vairagya, he was saying. Where is that? In that one line was very nice. In this, did I paste or not? Maybe somewhere else. Okay. Vairagya Vidya, here only it is. Unless there is Vairagya, there is no question of happiness. But we cannot attain Vairagya immediately. Therefore, Vidhi Marg Bhakti, to rise early in the morning, to attend Mangala Arati, to offer deity flowers, fruits, and in this way we shall be engaged 24 hours. Vidhi means under rules and regulations. Even if you don't like it, you do it. With an intention of getting taste to serve Krishna. Not just do it for the sake of doing it, but with a desire that I want to purify my existence and I want to become attached to Krishna. With that desire. Then Vairagya Vidya will gradually develop. Anartha upasamam sakshat bhaktim yogam adhokshaje. Then the anartha, this sentence. This material life is simply anartha. Has no meaning because we are creating another life. So he's saying, Prabhupada is saying, very self-realized personality, the pure devotee, saying this material life has no value. It is simply anartha and has no meaning because we are creating another life with all this. We are doing all this karma and it's creating another life. So that's why we have to do all the activities in relation to Krishna. Krishna karma. Like that. Then we will be doing our karma. Otherwise, next body awaits us. So, the miserable condition of material existence is not only felt when we come out of the womb of the mother, but is also present within the womb. Okay.
We read that.
Huh? Yeah.
We read the purport.
Oh, we read this. Sorry.
You just read the last line, right? Like by Maya, it makes us forget all the miseries that we have faced previously. So there is a song of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhuliya Tumhare Samsara Ashiya. It also says that because the child in the womb, as we will see, it will remember its past 100 births, all the miseries that he encountered. So he prays to Krishna that I swore not to take another birth again. But as soon as he comes out, he's surrounded by his loving parents and all the relatives. He's the center of attraction and everybody is serving him. and then he thinks that, oh, this world is a very nice place, and then he gets absorbed in playing in his, the childhood, and then youthful, and then traveling from one place to another for his education, and then he spends all his life like that. And yeah, it's a nice song.
Yeah, long song.
Oh, I can sing. Yeah. भूलिया तुम्हारे संसारे आशिया पेई नाना विधा व्यथा तुम्हारा चरणे आशिया छे आमी बोले बो दुखेरा कथा जननी जठारे चिलम झकोना भीषम बंधन पाशे एक बार प्रभु देखा दिया मोरे वांछिले दीन दासे तखो न भावीनु जन्म पाइया कोरे बो भजन तवा जन्म होएलो पदी माया जले न होएलो ज्ञान लवा आदरेरा छेले स्वजनेरा कोले हासिया काटनु काला जनक जनानी स्नेहित भूलिया संसार लागिलो भालो क्रमे दिने दिने बालक होइया भेलेनु बालक साहा और किछु दिने ज्ञान उपजिलो पाठा पढ़िया हारा विद्यारा गौरवे भ्रमी देशे देशे धन उपार्जन कोरी स्वजन पालन करी एक माने भूली नो तुम्हारे हरि बादिके खोना भक्ति विनोदा कांडिया कातरती ना भजिया तोरे दिना वृथ गेलो एखने की हबे गति. Should we read the translation?
Yeah.
I forsook you, O Lord, and came to this world of pain and sorrow. Now I submit my tale of woe at your lotus feet. While still in the unbearable fetters of my mother's womb, I saw you before me. You revealed yourself but briefly and then abandoned this poor servant of yours. At that moment I swore to worship you after taking birth, but birth came and with it the network of worldly illusion which robbed me of all good sense. As a fondled son in the lap of relatives, I passed my time smiling and laughing. My parents' affection helped me to forget the pangs of birth, and I thought the world was very nice. Day by day I grew and soon began playing with the other boys. Shortly my powers of understanding emerged. I read and studied my lessons incessantly, travelling from place to place, proud of my education. I grew wealthy and maintained my family with undivided attention. O Lord Hari, I forgot you. Now in old age Bhaktivinoda is sad. He weeps. I failed to worship you, O Lord, and instead passed my life in vain. What will be my fate now?
Okay, so before time runs out, yeah, of course, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is pure devotee, but he is feeling in his humility like that. And this is also for us. Yeah, I passed my life in vain. What will be my fate now? I don't know what will happen now. I missed the opportunity, like that is saying. So we may not be missing the opportunity because we are chanting, but still we have to make it nice so that our consciousness becomes Krishna consciousness. So like that. Otherwise, when the time will, अब पछताए क्या जब चिड़िया चुग गई खेत. So the time is now, and we should not procrastinate our, as Radha Maharaj was saying procrastination. Like procrastinate, become serious, and yeah, it's the time is now because we don't know there is another day tomorrow. So time to change our consciousness is now. And it's difficult. That's the most difficult thing, to change your consciousness, to change your desires. So it's very difficult because we have got this some momentum from our cultivation, from our past so many lives and in this life. So it has a really, it is going on with some speed. Like if a big truck is going in some direction with some speed, 16 miles an hour, to change the direction is difficult. So we have to pray to Krishna. That's where Hare Krishna mantra is a prayer. So to change the course of our desires and our consciousness. So we can pray to Krishna. Okay, so yeah, it's nice. We can, if there was no word to word. So Bhuliya tumhare sansare ashiya. Forgetting you, I came into this world. Pe nana vida vyatha. Vyatha means distress. Nana vida, or different kinds of distress. So came to this world of pain and sorrow. I have forsaken you. Ichha dvesha samuthena dvanda mohena bharata. Samoham sarva bhutani sarge yanti parantapa. Sometimes people say, oh, how did we come in this material world? Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying here. Why I came in this material? Because I forsook you. I have forsaken you. I have abandoned you. And that's why I'm in this material world. So we have all abandoned Krishna and come. Tumhara charane asi achi ami bolibo dukhera katha. Bolibo means I'm speaking out the tale of my misery at your lotus feet. Tumhare charane asi achi ami. What is saying? Now I submit my tale of woe at your lotus feet. Janani jathare. Janani means mother. Jathare. Chilama jakhona. Vishama bandhane pasha. Visham means horrible. I'm in the womb of the mother, and pasha is the ropes, tied by the ropes. So while still in the unbearable fetters of my mother's womb, I saw you before me. You revealed yourself but briefly, and then abandoned this poor servant of yours. So he saw Krishna in the womb. So Janani jathare chilama jakhona vishama bandhane pash. Ek baar Prabhu dekha diya more. One time dekha diya, I saw you. Vanchila e dina dasha. Vanchila is to abandon. So then you abandon this servant of yours. Takhuna bhavinu janama paya kuripa bhajana tava. What does it? And then it says Takhuna
I decided to worship you. Korego bhajan, I decided to do your bhajan. I swore to worship you.
That also we hear in the in Jiv Japa also, something that's there. Bhajibo boliya eshe sansara bhitare boliya rohile tumi avidyara bhare. Both are written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was a manjari in the spiritual world. And he's saying that, I came into this world saying, I'll do your bhajan. I mean, out of the womb. Bhajiba boliya eshe sansara bhitare. Bhitar means inside. I came into this world saying that Bhajibo boliya eshe. Boliya rohile tu. You forgot. As we'll see how the parents, Janaki Janani Sneheta Bhuliya. Under the Janani Sneha, mother's affection, and Janaka is father, the king, Janaka, father and mother's affection. I forgot. Sansare lagilo bhalo. The sansar appeared to be like bhalo means very good. Under the affection of my mother and father, I started considering that this world is such a nice place. They gave me toys, They gave me so many video games now and so many things to enjoy. So I forgot that this. Okay. Anyway, so it's already close to 8:30. Then I became bigger, and Vidyara Gaurave, I learned so much. I got some degrees, Brahmi Deshe Deshe, and then I went from India, then I went to America, then I went to Europe, and I did so many projects. Vidyara Gaurave, Brahmi Deshe Deshe, Dhana Uparjan Kori, and then try to earn wealth. Swajana Palan Kori Ekamane, Bulinu Tumare Hari. Then I maintain my family. Swajana Palan Kori. Ekamane. Ekamane means with undivided attention. With one pointed attention, I was engaged in earning money and taking care of my family, and I forgot you. Bulina Tumare Hari. So, yeah, that's how. Okay, so now I'm old. I'm Kandiya, I'm crying. Na bhajiya tore dina britho gel, dina britha gelo, ekhuna ki hobe gati. Now what will be my destination? My days passed in vain. Dina britha gelo, I spent my life in vain. I didn't worship you. Now what will be my destination? So at the time of death, everything is useless. So we have to go. So like we were seeing that Lata Mangeshkar's, I don't know if it's Lata Mangeshkar's, but last word somebody sent me a video. Okay, so it's 8:30. We'll stop here. Anything else anybody like to say? Any comments? Now we have to realize all these things and surrender to Krishna. That's all. Realize means we have to contemplate, right? Shravanam. Then what do we do after Shravanam?
Mananam, Nididhyas.
Means
Contemplate on it and apply it in our lives.
think about it all deeply. The misery of the child in the womb, like that. And the song that we read. Think about it deeply. And take it to your heart, from head to the heart. And then feel it.
That I don't want to go into any other mother's womb. We don't know, like the child does not know which mother it is in. It can be a hog mother or dog mother or human mother. But all such, is very miserable. So whenever thoughts of enjoyment come, we should remind ourselves of the miseries. Nobody likes miseries. Enjoyment can be only with Krishna in the spiritual world.
The Prabhu used to say that death is you go to bed as a human being and wake up as a dog.
Yeah. Who said?
Mukundata Prabhuji used to say in his classes.
Yeah, that's not for everybody, right? You are saying that.
No, it is the fear. We have to be fearful.
Oh, fearful, the fear.
And we could very well wake up as a dog or a hog or a cat or elephant.
But as a dog, you will not remember, right, that you were a human being in your last life. So
but the thing is the fact that, but at the same time, just imagine that you went to bed today and it's just a way of putting it, right? Like,
correct, I understand. Somebody said to Prabhupada, but as a dog, what is the problem?
But as a dog in Vrindavan, you will be miserable, right? Like people treat dogs badly there. And in India, especially, I think maybe it goes for all over India, stray dogs. I think you were mentioning the same thing. If you're a domestic, you're a pet dog, it doesn't really matter. There's also the story of a person, he goes to an astrologer and he says, can you tell me what my future life will be like? And then the astrologer says, you will be in America, you will be in Los Angeles, and you will be like all the women will surround you and they'll you get a lot of attention. So guess what? He was born as a dog in a very wealthy family. He used to go. He used to go in this lady's purse. She used to carry him, and all the women would admire him. So, yeah.
Like that joke, one devotee said that, I want a job where, what is that? People keep giving me, I don't have to give anything, but people keep giving me all, something like that, right?
He became a beggar.
Huh?
He became a beggar.
He became the toilet cleaner.
Became a director, yeah.
The toilet where I don't have to give anybody. People keep giving me something like that. Some joke is there, like I think Shikshashtakam Prabhu said. So he became that's what he wanted. So they give him tips, after he clean. He doesn't have to give anything, but of course he has to clean the toilet. But like that, yeah. So you can become a dog and get all your desires. Krishna, like Narad Muni, there is a story, right? That he wanted to be Hari.
Kailash.
No, that Hari, then he got the face of a...
Yeah, got the face of monkey. Yes.
Yeah, in Ramcharitmanas, because that is like he became puffed up that he could defeat Kamdev, because Kamdev he was sitting down and meditating, and Kamdev came and started kind of sending different like apsaras and all these kind of his paraphernalia to distract him, and Narad actually could. He was in samadhi, and his samadhi was not disturbed. But then he went about talking about it to everyone. And he first went and told, if I'm not mistaken, he went and told Shiva. And Shiva told him, you know what, it's okay, you've told me, but don't go and tell this to anyone else. And then he goes to Vishnu and he tells Vishnu. He just couldn't keep quiet. So everyone he sees, he goes and tells. And at that time, Bhagavan, Hari, Krishna, decides that, okay, we have to, because of his infinite love for Narad, because Narad is his child, he said, okay, I cannot allow him to do this mistake. So he and in that pastime, Vishnu himself came as and married that lady. What was her name? Vishwamoni or something like that. I can't remember. Something. There was this. So he goes into a palace, and then, so it's very interesting. This is our story, right? So he goes into this palace, and there's this beautiful princess there that the king tells, come and pay your obeisances to Narad. And Narad is this old man, right? So he goes and she comes and pays his obeisances, and the king says, can you please look at her hand? And well, actually, maybe palmistry existed before. So Narad looks at her hand and says, the person who will marry you will have all the qualities, and he will be like this and like this. But he thought, in his mind, he said, I want to marry this girl. So he was thinking that he has all these good qualities, whereas it is all those qualities only begin. He actually thought, by marrying her, I will get all those qualities. So, like, the person who will marry her will be like very rich. So who is the richest person? Bhagavan, right? So then he's sitting in this Swayamvar, and Narad is also sitting there. And that's the time when he goes and he has this Hari's face, right? He wanted to get Hari's face. So he does tapasya, and then he asks to get the face of Hari. And Bhagavan tells, okay, I'll give it to you. And he doesn't look at the mirror or anything before going. So he goes and sits there, and there are two people, there are two ganas, right? The associates of Shiva. They are also sitting in the Swayamvar. They have come to just watch the fun, and they look at Narad and they start laughing at him. And so he gets offended. So he's sitting there, but he's thinking, oh, let them laugh at me. What does it matter? And he thinks he's the most beautiful person. So this lady, she comes, this princess comes, and she just sees Narad, and she's like, totally, like, she doesn't, so she just skips that entire row of people who are sitting there, and then she goes this side, and there Vishnu is sitting, and she immediately garlands, because
this person was all, this is all a Leela, and that was Lakshmi Devi who came as this princess. So, I'm sorry.
No, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So then Narad gets offended. So Vishnu marries this princess and is taking her away in his chariot, and Narad go. So at that time, these two Ganas tell, "Have you looked at your face? Do you really think the princess would have married you?" So he kind of they say, "Go and look at the mirror, then you'll realize." So he goes and he finds like a puddle of water, and he looks into it and he realizes that his face is like a monkey. So then he goes and he stops Vishnu and says, "How come you're getting this princess and you have deprived me?" So at that time, Vishnu says something very nice. For the mother, the youngest child is very important. And so I was trying to protect you from all this Maya. I did not want you to get into this Maya. And I was doing it for your own good. I didn't want you to get into this whole janjat of household life and all that. But Narad could not accept it. So he actually curses Vishnu that you will suffer. And that's how this Rama avatar, one of the reasons Rama avatar came about. So he says that you will face separation from your wife, and because you've mocked at me by giving a hari, like a face of a monkey. The who will help you? I mean, the monkeys are the ones that will help you when you're suffering. So that's one of the reasons why Ram Avatar took place. So there are many takeaways from this, because we are doing exactly that without even realizing. The Narad is just an example for us to follow. We want to push aside Vishnu and get what he has. We kind of don't want to accept the supremacy of the Lord.
We want to enjoy what belongs to Vishnu.
Mataji, where is this story actually?
Ramcharitmanas.
Okay.
Tulsi Ramayana.
It's not Vyasa or Valmiki, right? Yeah.
I don't think it is in Valmiki Ramayana.
It's not there. It's not there. Yeah.
I have not read Valmiki Ramayana, no. But because here Tulsi Ramayana has a different... there are two stories that precede Ram's appearance. One is Sati Prasang. That is Sati, she comes and she gets bewildered and all that. And the second thing is Narad Mohaprasang.
Thank you. Okay, it's 8:40. We'll end here. Thank you all for your participation. Hare Krishna. See you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.